14 cruise secrets they don't want you to know. New 2025 hacks. So you're going on a cruise in 2025? Or maybe you're just dreaming about it. Either way, there are cruise secrets the cruise lines are definitely not advertising. I'm talking about the kind of insider info that could save you hundreds of dollars, help you avoid stressful mistakes, and honestly, make you see cruising in a whole new way. These aren't your typical bring a lanyard tips. These are the real 2025 cruise hacks and behind-the-scenes truths that most passengers don't learn until it's too late. Some are money savers, some are eye-openers, and a few might just change the way you cruise forever. Number 1. Hidden camera scandals in cruise cabins. Imagine checking into your cruise cabin, tossing your bag on the bed, flipping on the TV, and not realizing you're being watched. I know, it sounds like something out of a bad spy movie, but this isn't fiction. Hidden camera scandals have actually happened on real cruise ships, and not just once. One of the most disturbing cases was back in 2017, when a couple on a Carnival cruise found what looked like a hidden camera behind their cabin's TV. Carnival admitted it was a video transmitter, but said it wasn't active. Still, that couple was seriously rattled, and who could blame them? Then, in 2024, it happened again, this time on Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas. A crew member was caught secretly installing cameras in multiple passenger bathrooms. Authorities believe nearly 960 guests were potentially recorded over the span of 2 months. That's not just creepy, it's criminal. Now, I don't say this to scare you. These cases are rare, but they're enough to make it smart to do a quick sweep of your cabin when you first arrive. It takes less than a minute. Check for anything odd behind the TV, in or around vents, near the mirror, or plugged into power points. If something seems out of place, trust your gut. Take photos and report it to guest services immediately. And yes, bring it up calmly but firmly. These stories are part of why more cruisers are bringing tiny hidden camera detectors these days. You can buy one online for under $20. It's like a cheap little insurance policy for your peace of mind. So next time you get to your cabin, take just a moment to look around. You're probably fine, but wouldn't you rather be sure? Number 2. How to get a discount after you book. So you've booked your cruise. Congrats. But here's a secret the cruise lines hope you never find out. Just because you booked doesn't mean you're stuck with that price. Cruise fares change all the time, and if the price drops after you booked, but before your final payment, you might be entitled to the lower rate. Here's how it works. Cruise lines adjust pricing just like airlines. If your fare goes down and you catch it in time, you can call the cruise line or your travel agent and ask for the lower price. Some cruise lines will reduce your fare outright. Others may give you onboard credit or future cruise credit for the difference. Either way, you win. But it's not just about the cabin. Drink packages, Wi-Fi, and even shore excursions? If you pre-purchase them and notice a price drop, cancel and rebook at the lower rate. There's no penalty, and it works more often than you'd think. Here's the trick though. Cruise lines don't advertise this. It's on you to monitor the prices. That's why seasoned cruisers use tools like Cruise Watch or Shipmate to set alerts. Or they just make it a habit to check the booking page once a week. Seriously, it takes 2 minutes and could save you hundreds. Once your final payment is made though, the power shifts. Cruise lines might still offer credit, but more often than not, they'll politely say, tough luck. So, stay alert before that final due date. This tip alone has saved some cruisers more than $500, and it's completely above board. You're not cheating the system. You're just playing smarter than most people do. Number 3. Why seasoned cruisers always leave the ship last. Here's something most first-time cruisers totally miss. When you get off, the ship can seriously affect how your final day goes. And seasoned cruisers? They almost always choose to be last off the ship. Sounds backwards, right? But trust me, there are solid reasons for it. Let's start with the most obvious one, the chaos factor. On disembarkation morning, most people are desperate to get off early. They're crowding the hallways, jamming into elevators, and getting frustrated when their group number isn't called fast enough. And what do they rush off to? Lines. You'll stand in line for customs, line for a taxi, line to find your luggage, which is sitting in a sea of 1,000 black bags that all look the same. But when you leave the ship last, you skip all of that. By the time you walk off, most of the passengers are long gone. The terminal is quiet, your luggage is easy to find because the crowd has already picked through it, and customs is basically a walkthrough. It's like the express lane, except you didn't even have to pay for it. And here's the kicker. You're not stuck on board doing nothing. Most ships keep the buffet open. The coffee stations are still running. You can grab a quiet breakfast, soak up the last bit of ocean view, and avoid the stress storm happening downstairs. It's your final chance to enjoy cruise life before reality hits again. If you want to pull this off, just go to guest services during your cruise and ask to be in the final disembarkation group. They'll usually mark you down with no problem. Then, on the last day, you can kick back, avoid the crowds, and leave the ship like a total pro. So next time you cruise, skip the rush and leave in peace. There's no medal for being first off the ship, but there is a way better vibe when you're the last one to walk off with zero stress. Number 4. The crew life passengers never see. You've seen the smiles, the cheerful waiters, your cabin steward who always remembers your name, the bartender who makes your drink just right. But have you ever wondered what life is like for them once they disappear behind those crew-only doors? Let me tell you, it's a whole different world down there. What most passengers don't know is that about 85% of the crew live below the waterline, often sharing small cabins with bunk beds, one bathroom for 2 to 4 people, and long workdays that stretch up to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. For contracts that last up to 9 months. They navigate the ship using a secret hallway called the I-95, a long crew-only corridor that runs the full length of the ship and connects everything from cabins to the kitchens. Down there, there's a gym, a mess hall, even a tiny barber shop, but you won't see any of it unless you're crew. And while it's not all doom and gloom, yes, crew members build real friendships and even relationships down there. The work is hard, the hours are long, and the conditions are far from glamorous. It's a side of cruising that's hidden from passengers, but without them, the entire ship would fall apart. Now here's why this matters. The next time your room steward looks a little tired, or your waiter forgets your drink order once in 7 days, cut them some slack. Behind every smile is someone working 70+ hours a week to make your vacation amazing. They're the real backbone of the cruise industry. So if you want to cruise like a seasoned traveler, treat the crew with kindness, patience, and maybe a little extra gratitude. Because behind every perfect towel animal is someone running on little sleep and a whole lot of professionalism. Number 5. The wind tunnel effect in balcony cabins. If you've booked yourself a balcony cabin, first of all, good choice. There's nothing like waking up to ocean views and having your own little private slice of sea breeze. But here's something you might not know until it's too late. Open the wrong 2 doors at once, and you could create a full-blown wind tunnel that turns your cabin into chaos. Here's what happens. You've got your balcony door open to let in that salty breeze, then you decide to pop out for coffee or answer a knock at the door. You open your cabin door, boom. The air pressure difference slams both doors. Your papers fly off the desk, your hat goes soaring, and if you're unlucky, your neighbor gets a show you didn't plan on giving. Cruise ships are airtight structures with strong internal air pressure. So when your balcony door is open and you suddenly open your cabin door, you create a vacuum effect. And that air? It rushes through like a mini hurricane. I've seen cruise schedules, receipts, snacks, and yes, undergarments go flying. Not exactly the kind of sea breeze you had in mind. Here's the simple fix. Never open both doors at the same time. If you're about to leave your cabin, close the balcony door first. If you really love the airflow, you can crack the balcony door just slightly, just enough for a breeze, but not enough to launch your belongings into orbit. Also, if you're traveling with kids or roommates, make sure they know the drill too. One wrong move and your relaxing morning turns into a full-blown paper chase down the hallway. Not fun. So enjoy that balcony. It's one of the best perks you can have on board. Just keep the airflow in check, and your vacation will be breezy for all the right reasons. Number 6. Buffet safety concerns. Buffets and cruise ships go hand in hand. They're convenient, open nearly all day, and let's be honest, sometimes you just need that third slice of pizza. But here's the part. Cruise lines won't plaster across their brochures. Buffets can be a breeding ground for germs, bacteria, and sketchy food safety practices. Let's start with temperature. Hot food is supposed to stay above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and cold food under 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the food safety rule. But cruise buffets, especially during long meal times, sometimes drift into that danger zone where bacteria can multiply fast. That tray of eggs sitting under the heat lamp? If it's been there too long, it's not just lukewarm, it's risky. Now, Add in communal tongs, condiment bottles touched by hundreds of people, and the occasional passenger who decides to poke or sniff something before putting it on their plate. And don't even get me started on that scoop stuck in the communal butter dish. Sushi? Oysters? Cold meats? You might want to skip them unless they look freshly rotated, and those busy times when everyone's lined up after a shore excursion? That's when the buffet gets picked over fast, and that's when items are most likely to be sitting too long. Want to be smarter about it? Go for freshly grilled items that are made to order or obviously steaming hot. Grab salads and fruits from pre-packed sections when available. And don't hesitate to eat in the main dining room when it's open. They usually have better control over food safety, and it's way more relaxing too. The buffet can be a great option, but treat it like a food court with no adult supervision. Use your judgment, trust your eyes, and if something looks old, dry, or picked over, skip it, because spending a sea day hugging a toilet is not on anyone's bucket list. Before we get into the last half of the video, if you've learned even one thing so far that you didn't know, do me a favor. Give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps more cruisers like you find these tips and lets me keep bringing you the kind of real cruise advice no one else is talking about. All right, back to it. Number 7. Why you should avoid the back of the ship while underway. Let's talk about a part of the ship most people love for the view, but seasoned cruisers know it comes with a downside, the back of the ship while it's moving. Yep, I'm talking about that beautiful wake view that people post all over Instagram. Looks peaceful, right? Well, not always. Here's what most passengers don't realize. The air quality at the back of the ship can be noticeably worse while underway. And that's not just a theory. A few years ago, a study measured air particles around different parts of cruise ships and found that the back often had elevated pollution levels, especially on certain vessels. Why? Think about where the exhaust funnels are located. On many ships, they're centered toward the rear, and depending on the wind direction and ship design, the exhaust can settle in the back deck areas. That means you're sometimes sunbathing or eating lunch right under a floating cloud of engine fumes. Even without the data, a lot of seasoned cruisers have noticed this themselves. You might see small specks of soot on deck chairs or railings, or you'll feel the air is heavier, especially on humid days. Now, does that mean you should never go to the back of the ship? Of course not. There's usually great entertainment, pools, and outdoor dining back there. But if you're sensitive to smells or pollution, or you just want to chill somewhere with fresher air, you're better off grabbing a chair mid-ship or near the front when the ship's underway. The view might be just as pretty, and your lungs will thank you for it. Number 8. Why not all passengers are treated equally? Here's something that shocks a lot of first-time cruisers. Not all passengers on the same ship get the same perks. In fact, cruise lines have different rules, benefits, and even pricing based on where you live. Let's say you and a friend book the exact same cruise. You're in the US, they're in the UK. You might get refundable deposits, a free drinks package, or a year to pay off your balance, while your friend has to pay non-refundable deposits and settle the full fare in 90 days. Or maybe the perks are flipped. Either way, you're not on equal footing, even if you're both standing in the same buffet line. And it doesn't stop there. Australians often get gratuities included automatically, while Americans have them tacked on. Canadians sometimes face higher Wi-Fi prices. And the worst part? You can't game the system by using a travel agent from another country. Cruise lines lock your benefits and pricing to your country of residence. Why does this happen? Honestly, it's just business. Cruise lines adjust offers to match local competition, currency value, and consumer habits. But from a passenger's perspective, it feels kind of shady. So what can you do? Not much, unfortunately. But being aware means you can ask better questions when booking. Don't just assume you're getting what your friend or that YouTube vlogger got. Ask specifically what's included for your country. And if you see a deal that sounds too good to be true, it might be, but only if you live in the right place. It's just one more example of how cruise lines don't always tell you everything up front. Now you know. Number 9. Why smart cruisers avoid boarding early. Everyone wants to be first on the ship, right? But here's what seasoned cruisers know. Boarding early isn't always the win it seems to be. When you get to the terminal early, you're often greeted with long lines at security and check-in. Then, once you're finally on board, your room probably isn't ready yet. That means you'll be lugging around your bags, trying to explore the ship with a backpack on one shoulder and a carry-on in your hand. Not exactly the relaxing welcome you imagined. On the other hand, Boarding later, say, an hour or two before the deadline, can be a much smoother experience. Fewer lines, faster check-in, and best of all, your cabin's usually ready as soon as you step on board. You can drop off your things, freshen up, and then start exploring hands-free. Unless you've got priority boarding or VIP status, there's really no reason to rush. Save yourself the hassle. Let the crowds go first and cruise in calm. Number 10. The cruise contract you blindly agreed to. When you booked your cruise, you clicked I agree without reading the fine print, right? Don't worry, so does everyone else. But that tiny checkbox gives the cruise line a lot of control. In most cruise contracts, the company can search your bags or cabin at any time, confine you to your room, or even kick you off the ship at your own expense if they think you're sick or causing problems. And if your itinerary changes? Tough luck. They're under no obligation to compensate you. Here's another twist. Some cruise lines claim the right to use your photo or video for marketing without asking. Yet, they can also ban you from filming or sharing content that shows them in a negative light. It's not about scaring you. It's about being aware. You're not booking a hotel stay. You're entering a floating legal agreement. So next time, take a few minutes to skim that cruise contract. It could save you from some very unwelcome surprises. Number 11. Not everything is run by the cruise line. You'd think everything on board, spa, shops, photos, even the medical center, is run by the cruise line, right? Not exactly. A surprising amount of what you experience on a cruise is actually outsourced to third-party companies. That spa you're paying premium prices for? It's probably run by One Spa World. The watch sale in the gift shop? Usually Starboard or Harding Plus. Even the photographers snapping pics every time you blink? They're often on commission contracts, not cruise line staff. The medical center? Yep. On many ships, even the doctors and nurses are contractors. And when something goes wrong, the cruise line might shrug and say, "That's not us. So why does this matter?" Because when you complain about service or want a refund, you might hit a wall. The cruise line's not always liable. Before you spend big on spa treatments or specialty services, check the fine print. Not everyone working on board actually works for the ship. Number 12. Free versus paid fun on private islands. Cruise line private islands look like paradise, and they are. But they're also big money makers if you're not careful. Sure, you'll find cabanas, floating bars, zip lines, and water parks, but they come with price tags that can add up fast. Some families spend hundreds to thousands in just one day. But here's the smart move. Use these stops as your free fun days. The beaches? Free. Loungers? Free. Most islands include buffet-style food, beach games, and even some entertainment, all included in your cruise fare. So skip the pricey extras and enjoy what's already covered. Save your excursion budget for traditional ports, where you'll get more value and more authentic experiences. Cruise lines have turned their private islands into theme parks, so cruise smarter, not pricier. Number 13. Most cruise ships don't have man overboard detection systems. Here's a cruise fact that shocks people. Most cruise ships don't have automatic man overboard detection systems. Yep. If someone falls or jumps off the ship and no one sees it, the ship might not even know. They'll have to check CCTV footage after someone reports it, which wastes precious time. As of now, only about 30 ships, mostly from Carnival and Disney, have actual detection tech. And it's not because the tech doesn't exist. It does. It just costs money, around $200,000 per ship. Cruise lines say it's about budgets, not safety. But when every second counts, that's not exactly comforting. Cruising is still incredibly safe, but now you know the full picture. To the legends who made it this far, thank you. If you're still watching, drop a comment saying, "Cruise for you," and tell me what your dream cruise would be. I'd love to thank you personally and hear where you'd love to sail next. Number 14. The facial recognition, surveillance, and tracking tech watching you. Think you're just relaxing and blending in on a cruise? Think again. Cruise ships track more than you think. From the second you board, facial recognition is used to ID you, track your movements, and even help crew greet you by name. The medallion system on Princess, for example, logs your location in real time to suggest drinks, activities, or even help you find your group. CCTV, it's everywhere. Hallways, decks, shops. Even your balcony might be visible from a security cam angle. Lost something? Great. They'll find it. But if you were hoping for privacy, well, Not so much. It's not all creepy. It's mostly for safety and convenience. But knowing just how closely you're being watched, that's a cruise secret most passengers never see coming.